So welcome once again to the Breakout Room 2. You see on my screen the room distribution and the order of presenting companies today. My name is Natalia and I will be your facilitator. At the very beginning of this breakout room, I would like first to give the floor to our experts for very short introductions. And I would like to start with Michele.
Thank you for inviting me here. I'm Michele Aloni. I'm an analyst in Panacas Partners. Panacas is a venture capital based in Italy. We are investing all over Europe and in Israel. We invest in medtech. For us, medtech is medical devices, digital healthcare, diagnostic in vivo and in vitro. And since our last fund, which we raised a few months ago, we are also investing in biotech. That's all. I wish best luck to all the presenting companies.
Thank you, Michele. Now I give the floor to Lian.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Lien Callens and I work as an associate for IMEC Expand. We're a venture capital fund located in Leuven and we do deep tech investments, including investments in the health tech and applied AI space. We do seed and Series A investments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now Seppo.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Seppo Mäkinen. I'm a semi-retired venture capitalist, having been working for 4 funds in my past. In Finland, Denmark, France, and now in Portugal. And I'm investing privately, but in addition to this, I have a portfolio companies, one in ophthalmology, one in home testing, point of care home testing, one in virtual visits, and one in label-free detection. And I'm looking for investments also for my portfolio companies. So I'm doing quite small investments myself, early stage companies, but my portfolio companies may even acquire companies because they are public companies. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Seppo. Now I invite Maite.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for inviting me. Hi everyone. I'm associate at Asabis Partners, which is a VC firm from Barcelona. We invest in healthcare across the board, so from biotech to medtech and pure digital. We already closed our investment period from our first fund and are now raising our second fund, which we hope to have by mid-2022. We invest mainly in early stage, but from seed to Series B, depends on the round, and from 5 to 12 million euros per company, mainly focused in Europe. So it's a best of luck to everyone.
Thank you, Maite. Now, Catherine.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Catherine. I work with Hadean Ventures, which is a life sciences focused venture capital fund based in Oslo. So our stronghold is in the Nordics, but we have remit to invest broadly across Europe and even into the US. We are kicking off placements within our second fund. And as I mentioned, invest broadly across the life sciences. So everything from therapeutics to medical devices, and a bit of digital health as well. So excited for all the pitches today.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Now, Joseph.
Hi, everyone. Joseph McKenna from Verge Health Tech Fund. It's I guess seed stage is the right way. We like to say first or second capital into a company. We invest globally into technologies that expand access, quality, efficiency, and effectiveness to healthcare for everyone. We have completed our first fund and now we're looking to start our second one. So unfortunately, we've fully deployed. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Joseph. And now I invite Mikko.
Sure. Good morning. I'm into my 5th decade of working with early stage technology startups. and I've served on more than 100 venture capital-backed boards in Europe and the US, and have gone through more than 5,000 investor presentations. At present, I'm also chair of a pre-seed and seed fund called Icebreaker. We're investing from our third fund, which is 100 million, and we're focused on Finland, Estonia, and Sweden. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mikko, and to all experts in the room for their introductions. Now, just very briefly, I would like to remind you the format. So each one of the companies today have 5 minutes for presentation, followed by 4 minutes for Q&A, and then 1 minute for the experts in the room to fill in the evaluation form. Now you will see it just shared in the chat. This is a special link to this online-based evaluation form. And now I will stop sharing my screen and give the floor to our first company for the day. This is Ergotrix and Inge.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody.
Welcome. You're ready to share your screen?
Yes.
Yeah, full screen mode. So when you're ready, please let us know. Good luck.
I'm ready. Good morning. My name is Inge Bruinhoff. I'm the CEO of Ergotrix, and I'm very glad to present my company to you today. We are having inflatables for healthcare, so we are helping patients to position themselves on inflatables. The problem we are solving is ergonomics. 47% of the nurses today complain about back pain, and that is because they have to lift in the operating room and the intensive care unit thousands of patients every year. Now, optimal positioning is very important. So you cannot just operate a patient on an operating table like you want. You have to position him well in order to avoid complications and also further medical injuries. I will show you a video on how positioning is done today. The patient has first to be placed with his face down. This is for a neurosurgical procedure, but he cannot be flat on the table. He has to be lifted again to put the cushions under the shoulders and under the hips. Now, this is a relatively easy patient of 80 kilograms, but this also has to be done with patients of 100, 120 kilograms, and you easily need 6 or 7 people for that. The product is invented by Dr. Paul de Pauw. He is still active in the company because he was frustrated on how he had to position his patients before he could start his surgery. The solution he found is very simple. We are the only company who uses compressed air to position the patients in the operating room. So I will show you again a video. The first innovation is to put the devices on the patient instead of the other way around. So the surgeon can see where he positioned them and he avoids complications. And then with the compressed air, we first inflate our inflatable board. The patient is very easily lifted to 70, 80 degrees, and then you can roll him over. This can be done by a very small nurse, even for patients for 150 kilograms. And then you inflate the inflatable prone support, and the patient is perfectly positioned for the operating. This solution is patented. It's a very simple solution, but it is patented. Our competition is either the neurosurgical operating tables, but they are very rarely used in Europe and USA because they can only be used for a certain procedure. Gel foam cushions are mostly used, and then there is also sometimes frames which are used, like for example the Wilson frame. But if you compare them to our solution, none of them is unburden the healthcare workers, so it's giving the ergonomic release and at the same time provide also optimal patient positioning. And that is exactly the unmet need that Ergotrix is solving. Our company is become active in 2019. We had CE mid-2019, FDA end of last year. We have 3 published European patents. We also have already 1 US patent published, and the other one is still under investigation. Our funding in the beginning was with grants, around 1.5 million grants we received, and we also did 2 smaller seed rounds or pre-seed rounds of 1 million euro. And we won several prizes, of which the most famous is probably the Seal of Excellence in 2020. Because we solve an unmet need and it is a problem of millions of nurses, we are very often in newspapers, but we are already active on the market. So we have 40 recurring customers and more than 1,000 patients are either operated or ventilated on the Ergotrix devices. We spent in the last year to have a very strong network of distributors. We have now 15 distributors. The US distribution contract I just signed last week. The market is very big. We used the German statistics and we know that per 1 million inhabitants, 4,330 people are operated. So if you extrapolate that for Europe and the USA, then you have a market of 3.8 million prone surgeries per year. And that is a market, if they all would be using our devices, of 571 million euros. We are not a single product company. We have different devices for different kind of operations, but also for the intensive care unit. And that is a market which is another 300 million euros. Our team is very strong. I myself have more than 20 years experience in running a big company. Dr. Paul de Pauw is the other founder and he is still an active neurosurgeon. So he has a very good network from patients and healthcare workers. And those two people, Philippe and Nico, are our salespeople and they are used to sell medical devices. We sold so far 373,000 euros. Our forecast for the next year is 525,000, and our plan is to grow to 16 million euros, with 30% EBITDA. We're looking for 2 million euro investment, 0.7 for manufacturing automation, 0.9 for expanding, especially the launch in the USA next year, and then 400K for further product development. We already have 800K euro committed if we find a lead investor today of 1 million euros. So concluding, compressed air will be used in the healthcare because it's so easy. Ergotrix has a technology platform, the patents, the first product, and we are looking forward for your support. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Inge, for your presentation. Now I give the floor to our experts for questions. Who would like to start?
Hi, Inge, thank you very much for the presentation. Just a quick question. What's the business model?
We are selling our inflatables. They are disposable or single patient use. And then we're also selling the accessoires, which is the hummingbird. The inflatable board is a limited use device. It can be used for 250 operations.
250, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe I can ask another question. So this seems like a pretty innovative and kind of no-brainer solution for doing sort of surgeries. What's been the traditional resistance point when you're trying to market to hospitals?
It is a long sales cycle because it's something new, and especially in Corona time, there was a burden to get it known to the customers. Once they are seeing it, we are very easily to get into a hospital because it's a problem that everybody knows and they want to see your solution. It's very easy to get your people around the table who try it out very enthusiastic, but then it's a budget question. This is in most of the hospitals done manually. So you have to invest in something which is not a replacement of another device. And that I think is the biggest burden, to find a budget to do this. In most hospitals, we come in via the ergonomic budget. And that is why this company is successful now and not 10 years ago, because ergonomics is now much more a buying item than before.
And does that nuance factor into your market size estimations?
Yes. So we in the beginning, we go for a relatively low market penetration, 0.0 something, and then we grow to 5%. So we look at the number of hospitals that we can convince in the beginning, and bottom up, we count on the number of hospitals that we can conquer. What you see is that a hospital easily starts with the inflatable boards. That's a relatively small investment. And once they are used to using compressed air, then they start using the disposables also. So once we have a customer in, he never stops buying anymore. The nurses don't want to do it manually anymore. And then the doctors also start to use the disposables because it's very convenient and they can do things with it which they could not do with the other traditional cushions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Seppo Mäkinen here. I'm just wondering how well you are protected against the Chinese copies. This is something, which you should expect to come one day. What is patented?
Well, there is two things patented. So the inflatable board is patented, and that is patented with a very broad patent, which is the horizontal lifting of a person. So person horizontally lifting and turning from his back to his side and the other way around. That is patented. So that's a very strong patent. The disposable cushions is in Europe patented on the shape and the fact that we use tape on it. In America, it is patented for the system, so for the procedure itself. We also have patents submitted in China, but I agree with you, to fight the patents in China is not so easy, but we have it there also, the utility model is confirmed.
Thanks.
This is Mikko. I have a question about product margins. So if you think of the revenue of a single unit of your typical product and the cost of goods sold, what is your product margin? Thank you.
Our product margin is 60-70%. So that is the manufacturing cost, the selling cost until the product is ready to be sold. And then the end customer price, the difference there is 60-70%. 30% is for the distributor and the rest is then for our company.
I appreciate that. It's on a good level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inge, for your presentation, and to our experts for the questions. Now I kindly ask the experts to fill in our evaluation form for your company. And meanwhile, I will invite to the stage the second company. This is EpiHunter and team. Thank you, team. Just let us wait a few more seconds, let's say, so to give time to our experts in the room to fill in the form. Thank you very much.
Natalie, where do I find the form, please?
I share it in the chat. So you will see a special link shared in the chat. You need to click on the link and you will see the form.
On chat?
Yeah, in the chat here. You can see the chat button on the bottom of your screen.
Got it. Thank you.
Welcome. If any other questions about the form, I will remind you from time to time to fill in the form for each presenting company. And please keep it open on your screens all the time until the end of the session. Just don't close it. Okay, thank you very much. Now I give the floor to our second company. Good luck.
Thank you very much. And ePiunter is also a personal story, which starts with on March 15, 2015. And that's the moment when my son said to me, "Papa, you work in digital. Can't you create a light that turns on when my brain switches off?" At 10 years old, he was simply fed up with the daily life impact of his refractory epilepsy. And that pain became a vision, and that vision became the pioneering digital therapeutics company, ePiunter. And we operate at the cross-section of 4 major global trends. The first trend is brain disorders. 1 in 6 people today, only to grow to 1 in 3 people worldwide in the next decades due to aging mostly. And if you ask doctors themselves, they predict that the #1 application of AI will be in clinical decision-making. The third trend is digital therapeutics, subcategory within digital health, which will show a 6-fold growth in the next 5 years. And it's going to be of strategic value to the industry. And our intent is to position us strongly in this category. And the fourth trend is EEG wearables. They're rapidly becoming smaller, more fashionable and ubiquitous. And some examples of such wearables already on the market today are depicted on the left. We are a unique DTX company focused on externalizing changes of brain state for people with a brain disorder. We make visible what happens underneath the skull. We signal, we make it countable, we provide insight, but even more importantly, we deliver a real-time digital intervention. Our mission is to enable people with a brain disorder to participate more fully in society. And for this, we created the digital platform that applies real-time AI to wearable EEG to reduce the daily life impact, but also to generate real-world data for better treatments for brain disorders. Our platform addresses therefore both the need for the person with the brain disorder, but also other stakeholders. We use wearable EEG and proprietary deep learning algorithms that run on a smartphone to deliver real-time interventions to increase their quality of life. But our Pro Portal provides a new toolset for physicians as well for time-saving, remote monitoring, and providing a faster diagnosis and improved follow-up based on real-life objective data. And that data will also be unlocked for research and new therapies in the near future too. And by adding a new algorithm and if needed a specific digital intervention, we are able to scale this platform to multiple brain disorders and use cases. So let's take a look at a first indication and our beachhead. And that is in absence epilepsy. It's the most common pediatric epilepsy syndrome causing absent seizures, which look mostly like daydreaming. For the person themselves, it's a full blackout. They have no recollection of what happened. People with this type of epilepsy can suffer up to 200 seizures per day, causing tremendous impact on daily life, unnecessary impact. And there are many studies out there that show that epilepsy is much more than treating the classical outcome of decreasing seizures. And it shows that the quality of life is foremost influenced by peer and parental support. And that's where Epiunder kicks in. Let's take a very concrete look at what this means. This is our product for absence epilepsy. It's already used and on the market, used by more than 350 users in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. In a classroom, for instance, it makes the teacher aware of absent seizures by turning on the smartphone light, right at the moment when a seizure occurs. And this way, content and instructions can be repeated later, or more time is given for a test. At home, the smartphone can be activated to video record seizures fully automatically. It's a CE Class 1 platform at the moment, and it alleviates reporting pressure, but also provides a new tool set for the neurologist, all without interrupting the daily routines. Clinical validation is, of course, of utmost importance. We just finished a clinical validation study in 3 European reference centers and Boston Children's Hospital. And with this very high sensitivity and low false alarm rate, we have proven that our system is a very good tool to diagnose and optimize treatment for people with absence epilepsy. We have a strong team. I myself have international experience in digital product development and marketing. Dirk Lux has been the CEO of Icometrics, fantastic scale up. And Nikki is our CTO, making sure that I can sleep at night. We have a world-class international advisory board, recently joined by Professor Dr. Jacqueline French, Chief Scientific Officer of Epilepsy Foundation. So with our beachhead, with our vision, we went to the market and we asked one question to medtech companies, pharma companies, key opinion leaders and researchers. And we asked them, what brain disorder do you work on that has a sudden change of brain state with an EEG biomarker and a huge impact on daily life? And out of that, there was a product pipeline came of 10 products and 6 indications for 4 brain disorders. And for each, we use the same platform. We collaborate with large organizations and to create those products. So we are looking at a funding round of 1.5 million for core investment opportunity for 4 initial products in epilepsy. We have already signed memorandums of understanding for a second EEG wearable to add to the platform and for a distributor in Germany, and with an additional investment opportunity of 2 million for advanced products in the near future. So we are a unique DTX company focused on brain disorders. Join us to externalize brain states. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. You are 2 minutes more, so we need to shorten the time for questions. I'm sorry about this.
No problem.
Now I give the floor to our experts.
Yeah, maybe I have a quick question. So kids are mean, and I'm just wondering the sort of stigma of kind of having a very visible wearable versus some of the competing technologies that are a little bit more subtle, like on the wrist. And I understand that EEG will provide you a different biomarker than other biomarkers that would be collected in this way. What's the incremental difference versus your competitors? And maybe from a technical point of view, what's the number of leads and what's the sampling rate and battery life?
Yeah. So the battery, let's talk about the technicals first. So the battery life is approximately 3 hours at the moment. I also have to mention that we don't produce the wearables ourselves. So these are off-the-shelf EEG wearables, and we are a wearable agnostic platform. So we have one already in use. We are adding another one next year. The current one has a 3-hour battery life, and indeed the stigma has been the number one thing hypothesis that we want to prove. So therefore, we've put the proof of the pudding in the eating, and we created an out-of-pocket model where parents could purchase a subscription to AP Hunter, and it has shown that the stigma of the seizures themselves and the impact of the seizures themselves is much bigger than the stigma of this wearable. Children want to wear this because it helps them to show their friends as well why they do not react at certain moments. And we have seen even a bigger thing is that bullying stopped. Bullying stopped because the bullies started to understand why a child was not reacting or reacted differently at certain moments. And that was really wonderful to see.
Oh, that's great. And how many leads?
Sorry, there are 2 leads at the moment, FP1 and F7, that are being used. And of course, we can use those leads because absence seizures are generalized. That's also one of the reasons why we're adding another headset with more leads as well.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I see a question in the chat by Catherine. Catherine?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Tim. Was just given that it looks like you completed the study in Boston, was just curious if you are planning to launch into the US, and if so, what's your plans for business model and reimbursement in that market?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So yeah, our focus next year will be, and the next 2 years will be on Germany and the US. We will use the Germany DIGA application to mature ourselves and our processes, etc., to prepare ourselves as well for the US. In the meantime, what we will do in the US are health technology assessment studies, where we will look at the impact of absence epilepsy on school performance of children, then add AP Hunter to it and measure that difference. And we will speak with FDA as well. There are options for 510K for us, but depending on our research, we will decide whether we go the clinical pathway into the US, or that we will go and lean more on the school performance aspects of AP Hunter. So it has not fully decided, and we are speaking very closely with the Epilepsy Foundation as well on this initiative.
Thank you. So one more question in the chat. Please try to be short. Thank you. From Miko.
Yeah, I just had a brief question on your uses of funding. What percentage of your funding goes into lead generation and sales? Thank you.
Approximately 60%.
Great, the right answer.
Thank you for your presentation. Now I remind to our experts to fill in the evaluation form for your company. And I give the floor to the next one. This is Tada Medical and Katerina. Katerina, we see you. Yeah, now it's full screen. I think it's fine. Could you say something to check the sound? We cannot hear you.
So, perfect. Now I believe everything is fine, right?
Yeah, yes. So I give a few more seconds to our experts. So if you are ready, the floor is yours. Good luck.
I'm Katarina, CEO and co-founder of Tada Medical. We've had a great year, 2021. We managed to get the CE certificate, and the company is ISO certified, and we also managed to get EIC Grand Slam. So we managed to get the EIC Accelerator, the Fast Track to Innovation, as well as the Eurostar. And the reason why is because the problem that we solved is huge. It's enormous. I have problems with moving it forward, sorry. The problem is huge. And our story started at the Children's Oncology Clinic, where to identify their unmet needs. All of the children at this ward will need several infusions, such as you see on the pictures. And no matter what the nurse does, there is always risk for accidents where the tube is ripped out, the patients get hurt, and there is a risk of toxic exposures to the nurses and the environment and everything around it, and you lose expensive medication. We started looking into this need and realized that it doesn't happen to just children, it happens to everybody, could happen to everybody. And overall, there are 16.6 billion tubes that are used annually. First, we were looking into the dislodgement rate when they just get like pulled out, like I was talking about at the Children's Oncology Clinic. That number is 10%. And the further we've got into usability studies at clinics, etc., we realized that the problem is a lot bigger than just the dislodgement. There are failure rates due to mechanical complication, including infiltration and lots of different ones. And they all add up to patient injury, loss of expensive medication, toxic exposure, and it takes on average 30 minutes for the nurse to reinstate therapy after an accident. And since the problem is so huge and the failure frequency is so high, it does add up to an enormous amount of unnecessary healthcare consumption. The market value for the entire 46%, I don't have that, but if we take the market for the dislodgement, the ripped out tubes, it's 28 billion euros in Europe and US for this cost. So it's a really huge problem. When the problem is that something breaks, the standard solution is to make it stronger. We did the opposite. We made it weaker. So our connector, Relink, is a breakaway connector that splits into two parts. And when it splits into two parts, you can easily clean it again and reconnect it to rapidly reinstate therapy, and by that reducing the time to restart therapy by 90%. And we're using the same processes that they already use at the hospitals today to clean, so they are familiar with it. To the right is our product, which is the only one that is reducing the consequences when there has been an accident. The traditional devices are securing the device stronger and stronger to the patients. There are several studies showing that this approach doesn't fully help because there are still risk for accidents when it's ripped out and other complications. Our product, Relink, a breakaway connector, is a platform technology where each product is niched with different advantages for different segments, and it's a lot. The opportunities of saving patients and nurses within the gravitational IV are 11 billion units, and it's different per different classes. Overall, we have the opportunity to save 18.8 tubes from causing problems for both patients and nurses. And these opportunities are growing with 6 to 26%, depending on which market segment it is. Since it's so huge, we're looking into collaboration with strategically partners to work with license and distribution models. And we are in conversation with a lot of several, like we call it different streams, and we are active in all the streams to make sure that we analyze everything perfectly, because if you say yes to somebody, you say no to some others, since there is exclusivity for some markets, etc. We just came back from a really great exhibition in Germany last week at Medica, and people, not only possible licensing partners like a product, but also hospitals. We also visited hospitals in Germany last week, and we visited when it opened up. So we've been doing a lot of traveling since August to do all the networking that is required. We have lots of several needs. Some of those are business sensitive. I would be very, very happy to speak to any investor about the details, because it will obviously determine the nature of exactly which kind of investment we need. But we're very, very close to reaching the market. So what we've been looking at is that out of the total 16.6, we intend to address markets that are 10 billion units, and by 2027 we want to have 5% of the total market. And this is a new market, so that should definitely be achievable with some of those partners. Some are selling 400 million tubes, so if you add up, the 900 millions are not very strange. We have an amazing team. So I'm an engineer with an MBA, and joined this because I wanted to make a difference. We joined through Clinical Innovation Fellowship, which is this amazing program. Rebecca has a PhD in engineering sciences and done a PhD. Christopher, medical doctor, specializing in anesthesiology. The rest of the team are super qualified, and basically we have it's commercial, doctors, marketing. Some come from university and research, some come from different consultancy, and some has worked at the industry before. Together, we possess the experience required to take a medtech product to the market. To our help, we have research partners, university partners, as well as innovation centers. We also have an amazing advisory board, as well as investors and other partners who are all dedicated to our project. To have quick access to expertise is really, really important with product and business development and taking it to the market. And we're very grateful for all the help. We're just at the end of the seed because we're so really, really close to the market. So we are, I know when I asked to pitch here, we were talking about a round, and we're just so close to it. So we want to have a bridge round before of 650,000 euros, and then we'll do the A round later next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katarina. Unfortunately, it was 7 minutes, so we have only 2 minutes for Q&A now. Dear experts, please try to be short. I'm really sorry.
May I start? Just one very short question. What is the status of your business today? Are you selling? Do you have the volume manufacturing in place? And so
no, we don't have volume manufacturing in place yet. We are talking to possible sales organization that are interested in doing it for us. We got a verbally letter of intent last week, so we're going to meet up with people to do that. And in Stockholm and some regions in Sweden are opening up for the tender next year. So we want to have a line within that for next year, and we've been obviously, working very hard to get the story in place and have people who we can manufacture it to.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I may add one. Do you believe that for commercialization, to support commercialization, you will need some sort of data from a clinical trial or something like that?
Oh, thank you for telling me. Our product is patented in several countries and patent in 6 countries, Europe, US, and several pending. When it comes to the clinical trial, we have, thanks to the European Innovation Council, they have helped us. So we have 3 clinical trials planned, one in Sweden for Q1 next year, and then one in Spain and one in Portugal. And it's different ones. So one is for gravitational IV, which is a regulatory class 1S, and then we have for the advanced, that is a class 2A device. And then we have, we are planning for the future, not those 3, because they would be covered by those, but for the closed system, which would be then class 3 device. And that would really help in the closed system, because with the oncology products, because there everything is made to be totally tight, and that you have something that you can open if somebody wants to change clothes, or if the fact is that even if it's really, really secure. You know, accidents still do happen. So I think it's our device is really, really good in several settings. But it's different regulatory classes. So, and yes, it will help with one of our team is a medical doctor and has done an additional education in health economics at the Karolinska Institute. So we're doing a lot of analysis with secondary data at the moment, but we are so looking forward to all the data that we will get next year from the 3 trials that we have. And it's amazing that, you know, the hospitals take time, despite the pandemic, despite all of those things, to you know, plan these studies with us and take time. Last week at some oncology centers in Germany, that they are really, really interested in having trials going. And it's a really exciting times. We're going to have some amazing months ahead of us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if there are more questions, please write them down in the chat, and I would like to ask Katarina to answer them also in the chat. Thank you very much. Now, please complete the evaluation form for this company. And I invite to the stage Peter from Odin Vision.
Right. Well, good morning. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, and we see also your presentation. Everything, I think it's fine.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, good morning. My name is Peter Mountney, and I'm the CEO of Odin Vision, a cloud artificial intelligence endoscopy company. So each year there's over 300 million endoscopy and surgical procedures performed around the world. And most of these procedures are using an endoscope or laparoscope to look inside the human body. That camera is very similar to the cameras that we have on our mobile phones, but the doctors are always doing very similar processes when they're looking inside the human body. They are looking to detect disease, they're looking to diagnose disease, and then they're looking to treat that disease. But there's some really big problems with these approaches. We know that around a quarter of diseases are actually missed because doctors don't see them. And there's a huge variation in the quality of care that patients receive. In the UK alone, it is a 3-fold variation. So there's a huge opportunity to improve efficiencies and qualities of care that patients receive using these endoscopic systems. So if we take a look at the history of these systems, going back to the 90s, we see these initial systems that were brought onto the market for endoscopy. There's been 2 big trends that have advanced the systems. One was optical, where they were improving the hardware's better optics, getting the light down and back more effectively and nicer images, bigger images. Then more recently, we moved into the digital era. And the digital era was improving the quality of those images so doctors could see the disease better, but improving them using software, computer vision techniques to get better quality images. But actually now the scopes that we have in 2020 onwards, they're really pretty good. But this leads to some problems. It leads to problems for manufacturers in that all of that hardware is now being commoditized. Generally, it's made in China and then assembled in the UK or the US, but it's all pretty much becoming similar. There's not much improvement to be got out of improving the image qualities. It's not going to make a big impact on the quality of care that patients receive or efficiencies or healthcare costs. Hospitals are looking for more than just a better, bigger, higher quality image. They're demanding data integration, and they want to see the value of devices before they buy them. So there's increased demand from customers to show healthcare economics. This is making it harder and harder for the manufacturers to actually differentiate themselves and sell new versions of the system. There's customer pain as well. So our customers are hospitals. As we said, there's huge variation in the quality of procedures that the patients receive, and that's very hard for hospitals to control. There's a real need to improve efficiency. There is a shortage in the number of doctors performing endoscopy procedures, and there's a huge increase in the number of procedures that are required due to aging population, increased prevalence of disease in young people. And there's a constant pressure to reduce healthcare costs. So this market is really, really ripe for disruption. And we believe the next big trend in this market is cloud endoscopy, which is where Odin comes in. We believe this is going to open up new revenue streams for the endoscopy market, looking around clinical AI decision support tools, hospital operation support tools, streaming and teleproctoring or remote surgery, and customer insights and remote sales support. So what is cloud endoscopy? Well, really what we're doing is we're putting a very low cost box on the back of the endoscopy stack, and we stream those images to the cloud in real time, and then we send some information back to the doctor straight away. And we do that using our smart cloud platform. This is a scalable modular AI system. It's low bandwidth, low latency. We've already used it to deploy our first two products to market, and we've got a third one that's just come onto the market. We're in the UK, Spain, and Germany, and we've got distribution discussions with 3 EMEA companies, and we've already appointed a UK distributor. I'm going to skip over my case study because I've just seen the 1 minute timer come up. But what's really exciting about the cloud approach is it allows us to bring in a very disruptive business model where we're moving from that 5-year sales cycle of CapEx into a SaaS model or a DaaS, diagnostic as a service model. We've got a hugely experienced team. So a combination of researchers from University College London and ex-Siemens healthcare employees such as myself. We've got really the leaders in AI and regulated medtech and leaders from the clinical community who are pioneering the adoption of artificial intelligence. We've got big markets that we can attack. And we're starting with colonoscopy, moving into gastroscopy, and then into the surgical procedures afterwards. Okay, thank you very much. There was lots more I wanted to say, so if there are any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter, for being on time as well. I guess some of the details you can answer in the questions. So I give the floor to our experts.
I can start, if that's okay. Thanks for the presentation. How does your technology differentiate from others out there in the market already?
Yeah, so in terms of, so we have some competitors doing artificial intelligence in endoscopy, for example. Now, we differentiate in 2 ways. The first one is in functionality. So if we look at colon, for example, there are some systems that detect polyps. But we are the only system that does detection, that does diagnosis, that does cecum detection, and does bowel prep scoring. So our functionality is about 4 times what the other systems are. And then we have cloud, right? And all of these other, what essentially our competitor does is they take software, they put it onto a box and try to sell it as an expensive piece of capital equipment. Whereas we say, you know what, the cloud is the way forward. We can deploy low-cost equipment. You can put this into every single room in your endoscopy unit without having to go down that expensive CapEx route. And then you have access to the clinical decision support where you need it, when you need it, in a way that's easy for you to adopt and easy for you to justify from a value proposition point of view as well.
Understood. Thank you.
Hi, Peter. Just a quick one. Does your solution, in essence, integrate into every current endoscopy manufacturer system?
Yeah, exactly. So we are agnostic to the endoscope. And I think just going back to the previous question, tying that in as well. So what we have, one of the endoscopy companies has brought out their own detection system, but it only works on their latest system. So you have to invest a huge amount of money to buy the system in the first place, and then you have to buy the AI on the top. And so ours works on all, ours works on 100% of the scopes in the market, And I think that's what's really nice. And actually, if you talk to the doctors, they aren't that interested in getting a slightly better image and paying for a new scope and a new AI system. They would rather just have the AI system and keep the equipment they've already got.
Okay, great. So you guys are more functional and more flexible.
Right, exactly.
Maybe just to follow on Katarina's question, how much tailoring would you need to do to adapt it then to every single device as it is agnostic?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we don't tailor to specific devices. So the approach that we took was when we started to collect our data, we went very broad in the amount of data that we took. So we took data from different scopes, from different hospitals, from different levels of endoscopists, and we trained a generic algorithm that was able to generalize across the different scopes, instead of taking an algorithm that would have to be customized to individual scopes. So that was a conscious decision that was taken early on in the company.
Okay, thanks.
Time for one more question, if any.
I've got one more. And sorry, Peter, if you glossed over it, but are you guys currently doing a raise? What's kind of the current status of the company and key next steps?
Yeah, so we have a 12-month runway, but we're looking to open our Series A at the beginning of next year.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your presentation. You can stop sharing the screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And while the experts are filling in the evaluation form, I would like to invite our next company. This is Cell Dynamics and Luca. Luca, can we hear you? You're muted.
Yes, here I am.
Yeah, we can hear you very well. So just let us.
Yeah, I think it should work.
Yeah, I think as well. So, if you're ready.
Yes. Okay. No, I was just waiting for you in order to.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. Good morning. This is Luca Sereni, CEO of Cell Dynamics. We are a startup based in Bologna, Italy, addressing to more reliable biomedicine. In new therapies development, a main issue is the exponentially increasing cost of new drugs. There is an important need in improving technologies in order to reduce the overall cost of development. In the years, a second generation of more predictive 3D cell models, spheroids and organoids has moved from base research to industrial research, and collaboration among new biotech and big pharma is getting more present. Here are some examples involving J&J, Pfizer, Merck and others. 3D cell models represent the frontier of biomedicine, but they still need to improve in standardization to demonstrate all their potential. We develop novel laboratory devices to enable better use of these models and improve the testing capabilities to give a breakthrough contribution to this trend. W8 physical cytometer is our first market-ready product. W8 can measure dimension, weight, and mass density of spheroids and organoids. W8 has also sorting capabilities, preserving sample viability. We already demonstrated that we can see differences induced on biological samples by many factors. Here you can see some our first papers published with scientific partners confirming our application fields. Let's go a bit more in deep in our disruptive value proposition as we already tested. From weight and mass density, we estimate maturation of spheroids or organoids. So we improve process control in research laboratories, as well in cell factories. From our parameters, we estimate effects on drug actions, so we can identify novel biomarkers for tumor research. As well as we measure effects of immunotherapies, so again, opportunities for novel biomarker. More applications are rising step by step due to this disruptive approach. Finally, we compared our productivity in terms of cost per information, and we were 60 times cheaper than a less precise investigation held by confocal microscopy. Following scientific evidences in beginning 2021, we started device sales. We sold in Q1 5 systems. In first half, we sold 10 devices, mostly in Europe, but also in Japan and China. Due to pandemic, these results came without demo activities before sales. Next step, we need to boost our commercial action. We need to enter in pharma research segment. Competition, we have really few competitors. Confocal microscopy with 60 times cost more per information and lower precision. We saw cytomass monitor by the Swiss NanoSurf, and we identified also suspended microchannel resonator by the US Travera. These last two cases are only for single cell analysis and not for cluster of cells. Coming to our business model, our revenues come from sale of laboratory devices and consumables or pay-per-use for devices. We also offer analysis service on customer samples. And on the right of the slide, you can see the plan of further product developments involving new devices and vertical application on our platform with bioprotocols. This is the synthesis of our plan in terms of sales and net profit according to the development of the portfolio products. In 2024, almost 20 million sales and 8 profit. A quick look to our fundraising history. We had a mix of equity funding and soft funding for about 3.5 million euros. And for further development of the company, we are fundraising 5 million euros, 65% to put in place a commercial organization and to improve key opinion leader relations, 35% to invest in portfolio product development. Team is a balance among strong technical competence, physics, engineering, and biotechnology, application competence in biology, expert general management, and a sales experience in the specific business. We profit also of a lean advisory board with a former C-level in corporates like Becton Dickinson and a successful serial entrepreneur in our business segment. Thank you so much for your attention and of course available for your questions.
Yeah, maybe two really quick ones on my side. First one's technical. Are you planning to add any sort of sorting capability into it, or you want to keep it purely as a cytometer? And then the second question, more from an investment side, what kind of investors are you looking for?
Thanks for the question. Yes, we have a mix of a cytometer for cluster of cells and a sorter. While using the cytometer for these physical parameters, according to the results of the investigation of the test, we can sort, maintaining the variability and the stability of the sample. For the other part, of course, we prefer to have very specialized VCs or corporate VCs also. We started looking especially on VCs, and we are moving a bit more on corporate VCs with probably stronger feedback at the present stage.
Yeah, thank you.
One question from my side. What is the total addressable market? You didn't say anything about that.
Yes, I should have something more about this. 2 words about this market. The cell analysis market is about 16 billion euros, while the 3D cell biology, that is a part of this market, it is a segment of this market, is just 1.2 at the present stage last year. Not this year, with a strong increasing ratio. So we considered as an addressable market for our target having a comparison of the history of cytometry and cell sorting during the former century, of course, because we have not very short-term references. This is the estimate of the addressable market in next years. So 2025, we estimated 140 for this kind of market. Of course, it is a new need, growing, united or linked to the 3D cell models development.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How do you sell today?
We sell directly in Italy, and we sell via distributors in other countries. The big issues for us has been during this pandemic year to be present aside our distributors out of Italy, and this has not been possible during this year. And this is the most critical aspect that we want to solve in the future.
One more question from me. If I think of your financial plan, which shows profitability pretty quickly, and if I think of the millions that you're trying to raise right now, I'm just wondering that, there you go, that where does all the funding go to? Is it in a balance sheet investment? Because when I look at these numbers here, which you're showing, I'm not sure you need that 3 to 5 million of funding.
I need the funding in order to enter in this perspective. Without the funding, I'm not able to enter in this perspective. I mean, I need to invest, especially next year and the following, boosting a lot. You see, the profitability is not good next year, is negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to invest in order to expand my marketing activities, my commercial activities. Otherwise, I won't be able to reach the improvement in the following.
My point is, and we can go offline on this, that net income here is pretty close to cash. So I would have expected to see that you make a much bigger loss in 22 and maybe even 23. But we don't need to go into that deeper, just an observation.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, the cash and the flows and the profitability are negative in the next year and are starting growing more significantly from the 2023. But again, the need is I need to invest in my commercial activities now in order to be able to reach that goal. Otherwise,
agree. I fully agree.
Impossible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Luca, for your presentation.
Okay.
Now you can stop sharing. Thank you. Now it's time for the evaluation form. And I invite now Christina from Therapet.
It looks good, right? You can see the slides.
Now we can see the slides. It's
okay.
Full screen.
Okay. Just let me know when we need to start.
Yes, yeah, I'm just giving a few more seconds to our experts. Thank you. Okay, good luck.
Okay, thanks a lot. So good morning, everyone. My name is Christina. I'm the CEO of Therapet. So at Therapet, we are developing a novel medical device that will act as eyes for the doctors during the proton therapy for cancer treatment. So let me tell you what proton therapy is. Proton therapy is a new technology using high energy particles to treat cancer. It's the most precise radiotherapy in the world and gives minimal damage to healthy tissues and organs. So we believe it's the future for radiotherapy. Although the proton therapy itself is extremely precise, all the treatments today are only relying on simulations and there's no real-time monitoring during the treatment, and the doctors are not 100% sure about where inside the patients the protons really arrive. Because of this, the doctors have to be conservative. When they plan the treatment, they have to add large margins around the tumor in order to make sure that all the cancer cells are killed, which means unnecessary radiation to the patients. So if the tumor has a size of clementine, why would you treat as orange? That's exactly what we want to change at Therapet. So our product is an add-on medical device to the existing proton therapy facility. So our device will tell the doctors where inside the patients the protons really arrive for the first time in 3D, in real time, in vivo, and in a non-invasive way. By knowing where exactly the protons arrive inside the body, so we can further reduce the margins around the tumor. This means a safer and more precise treatment for the patients. So how does it work? So when the protons enter inside the body, the gamma rays are emitted as a byproduct on the proton path through nuclear fragmentation reaction. So during the treatment, so by detecting these gamma rays, we can backtrack the precise position of where inside the patients the protons react with body tissue. So we already secured the 3 IPs, 100% in the name of Therapet, and we have gathered the best expertise in the world in a single project with one common goal, to ensure the right dose for every patient every time. And our company has been ranked as number 2 out of over 500 applications in the entire Europe by the European Commission recently, and we granted 700,000 euros together with our Swedish clinical partners. So we recently completed our first clinical validations with real proton beams at the Scandium Clinic in Sweden. So it was a great achievement of our innovation, and I'm proud of sharing this great news with all of you. So today, there are over 120 proton therapy facilities in the world. So you might say the market is relatively small, but it's growing fast and doubling every 5 years. So we believe today is a perfect window of opportunity for our product. So in each facility, there are normally 3 to 4 treatment rooms, which means we could potentially sell 3 to 4 units per facility. So today there are about 450 treatment rooms globally with a unit price of 1 to 2 million. The addressable market today is already over 750 million for our product. As I mentioned before, the market is very niche and relatively small. So our business model is quite straightforward. So for the moment, our go-to-market strategy is a direct sale to the proton therapy facilities, starting with well-established partners. So the initial sale will be taken care of by the management team. So we will use our extensive network to reach out to the existing facilities. So our story doesn't really stop here. So Therapet technology is a platform technology. So proton therapy is only our first journey, and we do believe that we have many great potentials to grow. So we are a team of experienced physicists from the world's most well-known research institute, renowned field experts and experienced businessmen, strongly supported by the Swiss startup ecosystem, as well as on the European level. So we are confident to bring our company to the next level. So we are a faster growing team. Within less than 1 year since the incorporation of our company, we managed to raise more than 3 million Swiss francs. And today we are 10 FTE working on the development of the full-scale prototype ready for CE certification. So currently we are raising our Series A round of 5 million, and more than 3 million has already been committed by our existing investors. And I would like to benefit from these opportunities to invite new investors to join us. So for the next generation proton therapy to fight cancer. And finally, on behalf of our multidisciplinary Therapet team, I would like to thank you all for your attention and join us together with our existing investors and the best expertise in the world for the next generation proton therapy to fight cancer. Thank you. I leave this page for discussion.
Thank you, Christina.
Cool. So this is a kind of a niche on a niche play, given that Proton's niche and PET's already kind of one of the more niche of the imaging technologies. At what point do you kind of have that decision point to say, hey, we're going to go for a fast exit to a large player versus trying to build it, ourselves? And then a second, more technical question is, can you walk us through kind of some of the future product lines that you have in mind, or is that kind of too sensitive?
We do have because our first goal right now, the priority is the Series A of 5 million. So with that money, the first milestone that we are going to deliver for our investors is that a full-scale prototype ready for CE certification. This will happen in the middle of 2022. Once that is done, so our plan is that we will start initiate discussions with the big players. So either we go further for Series B in the future, or we probably will negotiate an option agreement with big players at a certain point here. Once we finish our first full-scale prototype, this is our goal. So of course, we still have time to think about how we are going to do. Either we sell ourselves, since it's a very niche market, so we already know all the centers around the world, and it's only 120 facilities, right? So the sales is not, the end user is well defined and the sales is limited.
Yeah,
so
you can call them in one day.
Yeah, we can call them in one day. Yes, exactly. So either we do it ourselves together with our investors, or we partner someone already after Series A, not before Series A. So after Series A, we partner with big players so that they can already integrate our solutions in their existing machines, or even during the design phase for their new machines in the future.
Yeah, and then the product roadmap beyond doing this, which I say is really cool, this image guided therapy for, proton annihilation is pretty cool. But
thank you very much.
What else is coming up? And randomly, I'm sitting in Nina Capital's office right now.
Oh, really? Okay, Nina Capital is our existing investors. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah, they are very supportive indeed. Say hi to Martha.
Will do. Actually, I just saw her at 9.
Yeah,
all right. So sorry, the next question, and then I'll stop
Yes.
monopolizing all the time. Sorry, guys.
Mhm. Thank you very much.
Christina, what is the uses of funding for Series A?
The use of fundings, so as I said, so we want to set up our first full-scale prototype. So all the design are ready, the key equipments are well defined. So the next thing is to assemble it. So once it's done, then we do our clinical evaluation. So
how much of
evaluation?
right? How much of the funding would go into sales and marketing?
Actually, not that much at this moment. For Series A, I don't think you need so much.
Fine, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Christina, for your presentation. You can stop sharing your screen now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's time again for the evaluation form. And I will invite to the stage our last company. This is Means Health and Wilfred.
Ready when you are.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess you can start. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I hope you all can still concentrate on the last pitch. So let me kick off. Did you know that more than 2.3 billion people around the world suffer from lower urinary tract symptoms? These symptoms are seriously affecting quality of life and may even lead to depression. However, only 1 in 3 seeks medical care. Reasons? People are simply unaware that symptoms can be treated. I think it's part of aging, and there's also still a taboo around LUTS. It affects men and women. Most common disorders are urinary incontinence, BPH means a large prostate, overactive bladder and nocturia. So let me first introduce Minza Health. We are a remote patient monitoring company digitizing the LUTS patient pathway. Established in 2015 in Antwerp, Belgium. Meanwhile, 8 people on board with all core disciplines within the team. We are advised by 2 professors of urology from the University of Antwerp. We have developed 3 products, 2 are already on the market and 1 is ready to commercialize. We'll talk about that product in this pitch. Meanwhile, signed up with 15 distributors in EMEA and Australia, more than 225 active customers in 25 countries. We have a cloud database of almost 100,000 diagnostic tests, and sales since end of 2018 is €500,000. So why do we exist? Well, Minza will digitize the LUTS screening, diagnostic and treatment pathway, enabling value-based outcomes for stakeholders such as patients, healthcare providers, payers, and industry. So let me explain the problem. One of the first things you need to do when you seek care is keep a bladder diary. This is recommended in all international urology guidelines. So people need to pee in a kitchen beaker, so just buy it from the shop or get it from your kitchen furniture, and then write the voided volume and time on a piece of paper. Well, one can understand that this is absolutely cumbersome and inaccurate. It shows a low patient compliance. It's also asking unnecessary time from the GP or urologist when analyzing these pieces of paper. It leads to subjective diagnosis, and treatment monitoring is almost impossible. So what is our solution? The Minza Diary Pod. This is an automated bladder diary for remote patient monitoring, clinical decision support, and self-management of LUTS. It comes obviously with an app, so patients pee in the pod and then click on it, and the voided volume and time is automatically registered in the app. It's a single patient use device. That means that the patient will keep this pod during his or her journey. In the end, of course, with cloud-based technology, the physician has access 24/7 to all the automatically calculated parameters, and it easily shows treatment effect during the patient journey. The price of the pod on the market will be around €50, and it comes with an annual software license for the GP or urologist of €400. So what are the benefits? Remote patient monitoring. Yeah, means obviously fewer hospital visits, saving on travel costs and indirect costs involved for patients, making the patient journey shorter, follow-up more efficient, and also unblocks the healthcare system reducing on care costs. And it will definitely enable value-based healthcare. A piece of paper cannot do that. So within our strategy, we'll focus first on the OEB patients. So this is a group within the LUTS patient population. Overactive bladder means that you need to go to the toilet for up to 20 times or more time during the day. This affects more than 500 people worldwide. That's 1 in 6 adults in the USA. Here the situation is that the treatment is most complicated, time-consuming, and patients are requested to keep multiple bladder diaries. That's why we first focus on this group. The problem: ignorance, poor patient follow-up, and bad therapy treatment. Obviously, the solution, the Minza Diary Pod. So within our strategy, we'll take 4 steps, so to speak. So the first step is running pilot studies and clinical studies to collect more evidence and to build our health economic case, which will also lead to reimbursement. One can understand that a piece of paper and using a kitchen beaker is currently not reimbursed. The second step is go for the second line and specialty care. We'll target urologists, urogynecologists through our distributor network, but also in collaboration with MedTech and Pharma, who will act as sponsors. We'll come back to that. Then there's first line. Here, the LUTS patient should be diagnosed. They should not be referred to the second line or third line immediately. So we'll decrease referrals based on clinical decision support. In the end, the patient itself, they can also use the Diary Pod and app as a self-management tool with lifestyle advisors. We're currently in a couple of strategic projects because the Diary Pod will support Medtronic's OEB business. They have neuromodulators to stimulate the bladder. and they think they can get more patients on board by using our product. We'll do similar with BD Bard, another global medtech company, and also with a new kid on the block, Saluda Medical. So this is our value creation roadmap. We need to create the value for, in particular for medtech and pharma with lots treatment solutions. And the product is currently validated, and we are kicking off pilot studies and clinical studies in order to build our health economic case and then go for reimbursement. So the value of the diary pod comes on top of the two products that we are already on the market, and then we are ready for an exit. Funding that we need is 2 to 4 million for clinical and health economic studies, business development, marketing. We currently have a pipeline of 1.5 million on sales on the other two products. Thank you. Any questions, please?
Does the software integrate with the current health systems that hospitals have, or is it separate? Like, do you have to change?
No, we are finishing EMR automated connections into Q1 next year.
So it'll be integrated into patients' health records. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, this is cool. Do you make your own hardware or do you OEM it out? And if so, what's your margin?
Yeah, we're organizing the hardware ourselves. The product is the molding from Taiwan is produced in Romania. The gross margin that we have is 75%, based on a market price of €50.
Cool.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One more, please.
It seems you were very clear, Wilfried.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You can stop sharing.
Oh, yeah,
I kindly ask our experts to fill in the evaluation form for this last company as well. And meanwhile, I will share with you some additional information. So first of all, thank you very much for being so active today. I hope our breakout session was interesting and useful for you all, and especially for companies. All companies will soon receive via email their evaluation results and video recording of their pitch. Now I would like to kindly ask you to fill in also our feedback survey. I'm really sorry for so many links sharing in the chat today, but this is our format, and your opinion is important to us about the session. I would like also to remind you about one-to-one meetings option starting today at 2 p.m. CET time and continuing tomorrow, 26th of November, all day long. You still can pre-book your one-to-one meetings via TechTour community platform. Please check also the video instruction now shared also in the chat. And that was all for today's session. Thank you once again for joining us, and have a nice day. Hoping to see you soon again. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.